Preparing to live stream. Okay, so now we're live. I'm assuming everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Carrie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Can you turn your microphone on so we can hear you?
How's that?
No, your
Yeah,
mic's
I
working,
can hear
Carrie.
you.
Okay.
Oh, it is? Okay, I see. So we're having the issue here.
Okay.
All right, because I got to turn it up. Okay. Okay.
All right. Sorry about that, everyone.
First day.
Well,
Yeah. So
I'm
we're
glad
using-
you two are here to fix it.
Right.
Yes,
So
thank you.
no problem. So I think we were just in the middle of Pavlina. You were introducing yourself.
Yes, I'll repeat the same. I've been with the town for 6 years. I'm the HR director, and I've been the liaison with this committee the whole time. And accessibility is under my portfolio as HR director. So it all comes through me. Yeah, if you have any questions ever, please feel free to reach me directly. I'm more than happy to talk to any of you.
Thank you, Pavlina. So I'll introduce myself very quickly. I'm Pam Slowly, and I'm the acting deputy clerk, and I supervise council and committee services. So if there's reason you can't reach Pavlina or you can't reach Carrie, you can reach out to me. Most of you know me from my past work with the committee, so I was just popping in to say hi. I will not be attending your meetings, but I thought I would say hi because I miss all your faces. So hello, welcome back, and looking forward to a great term. So we can just go around, and I'll start with a new face. How about Patricia House? We would love to get to know you.
Can she wave?
That's me.
Okay.
I'm the one up here by Carrie. Yeah, this is my new first time. I've never done anything like this before, but I thought it sounded very interesting. I'm not quite sure what to expect tonight, but I'm going to sit here and take everything in like a sponge. So I don't know what else you expect to hear me say. Is there anything you'd like to know?
Just whatever you're comfortable sharing, but thank you and welcome.
Oh, well, just I guess the reason I made the committee is because I do use a power wheelchair. I can walk, but I do use a power wheelchair when I'm out and about. And so I'm very conscious of in the city, where we need to have extra sidewalks put in, where we need to have curbs put down, that kind of thing. And, accessibility. So that's why I thought it'd be very interesting to join the committee. So that's why I'm here.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And Liz, do you mind introducing yourself?
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button. Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Parkinson, and this will be my second full term on the Accessibility Committee. I belong to a local MS support group. I was diagnosed with MS in 2016, and there's a pretty active group in New Tech with people with MS, and we meet bi-weekly at Matthew's house, who has provided us with tons of support in the last part of the pandemic. So that's been great. So people in the group have varying abilities, cognitive and physical, and they provide me with concerns and questions or issues relating to the town accessibility. So I'm looking forward to bringing those forward. For work, I work for an agency of the Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training and Skills Development, and I work with employers who are dealing with workplace injuries. So there's that kind of angle too. So yeah, so anyway, hi.
Thanks, Liz. Ashley, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Ashley. This will be my second term on the committee, and I kind of got involved after I sustained a spinal cord injury back in 2016, but joined the committee in 2018. So yeah, I'm here just to try and help make new tech more accessible and welcoming to everyone. So yeah.
Thanks, Ashley. Janine, a familiar
Yeah,
face?
hi, that's me. This is my third term. And my disability is vision loss, and I think I'm the only one on the committee that has a sort of a sense loss, a sensory loss. And I wasn't going to come back on this committee, but I had a couple of incidents where people weren't seeing my white cane. Like they weren't seeing my white cane as a white cane. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe we have an education opportunity in that area as a committee, because I don't know what they thought I had, maybe walking sticks, but or people don't learn what a white cane is anymore. Anyway, so that's my cause this term.
Great. Thanks, Janine. Nancy?
Oh, hi, my name's Nancy Milligan. I've been on the accessibility committee for, I don't know whether it's 3 or 4 years, or maybe it's been 5. I lost track.
Well, you've been up as I have, at least.
Yeah, at least, I'm sure. My reason for being on the committee is in 2004, my husband was involved in a farming accident where he had a large 700-pound bale of hay fall on his head, and subsequently suffered severe spinal cord injury and was left a quadriplegic. And for the 11 years he lived with that disability, we experienced so many roadblocks with people with mobility issues, and it became increasingly frustrating, and to the point where when I was introduced to the accessibility committee, I thought, well, maybe I could share some of the problems that we experienced, and hopefully prevent someone else in the community from experiencing the same. So basically, that's why I'm here.
Great. Thank you, Nancy. And Michelle?
Hi, I'm Michelle Woodward. I will apologize if you hear dogs squeaking their toys and barking while I'm talking. I am on the committee because I have a 16-year-old son who has muscular dystrophy, and he uses a power wheelchair. And obviously accessibility is a big thing for us, and that's why I'm here. This is my third term on the committee. And I also wanted to say that I know that Debbie Bushby is not on the committee again this term, but I'm still involved with the Children's Treatment Network, so I am more than willing to bring information from Debbie to the committee.
No, that's good.
Good.
That's great. Last but not least, Councillor Masters.
Okay, unmute. Here I am. Okay. Well, hi everyone. Hi Nancy. Good to see
Hi.
you again. Yeah. And so yeah, I'm new to council, as you may know, and about me. Well, I've ran own MCG consulting. Do business consulting for small and large businesses, and actually it was Jim Milligan that hired me to help him out with sales after he had his accident that many years ago, and that was a great experience with Jim moving into the farming industry. But yeah, so I've been doing that since I retired from the auto industry. I spent I think probably 50 odd years in the auto industry, and that's about it. I produce a TV show that some of you may know, you might recognize. It's shown locally, so it's one of my interests. That's about it. And I do. My younger brother actually was in a wheelchair for a number of years before he passed away, and I had a nephew that was a quadriplegic after a nasty car accident. So I can't say I've had any experience, but I do recognize the needs and some of the issues that go along with it. That's about it. Thanks.
Well, thanks, everybody. I think we got around to everyone. So before I open up the floor for nominations, I'm just going to share my screen with you. We're just going to go over the duties of the chair. So tonight we are nominating a chair and a vice chair. So if you'd like to maybe think about somebody that you would like to nominate for those positions. So while you're doing that, I'm just going to share my screen and we'll just go over the duties. So Pam, because you're the host now, I can't share my screen.
Sorry about that. I can fix that. Okay, can you try now?
Well, let's see here. There we go. No, it's not letting me.
All right.
Perhaps I can read it.
No, yeah, you can read it, Carrie, but here, let me
Okay. Okay, so the duties of the chair. It shall be the duty of the chair to open the
sorry, I just want to make sure. Can you see
meeting
that?
by taking the chair and calling the members. No, there we go. There we go.
Seeing the duties of the chair. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. So the duties of the chair, it shall be the duty of the chair to open the meetings by taking the chair and calling the members to order, to announce the business in the order in which it is to be acted upon, to receive all recommendations presented by the members, to vote all recommendations which are moved and seconded and to announce the result, to decline to put to vote a recommendation which infringes upon the rules of procedure, to designate the order in which members are recognized to speak when two or more members wish to be recognized at the same time, to encourage the observance of order and decorum among the members, to permit the meetings to proceed in an orderly and efficient manner, to act as a spokesperson for the committee before council, to act as a spokesperson for the committee before any body or tribunal and speak on behalf of the committee as authorized by council. So this was in your package of committee procedures. So I know we did send out quite a bit of information and it might be a little overwhelming, but when you do have time to go through everything and you have any questions, or tonight as we go along, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, because that's what we're here for, is to help. So anything that you wish to address, you can always ask. So now I'm going to open the floor for nominations for the chair. Does anyone have a nomination or a member that they wish to nominate? Nancy?
I'd like to nominate Ashley Drake.
Okay. Ashley, do you accept that nomination?
Yeah.
Great. And can I get a seconder on that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. And all in favor? Wonderful. Thanks, Ashley. So we have a motion to appoint Ashley Drake as the chair of the Accessibility Advisory Committee for the 2022-2026 term. Thank you. And is there any member who wishes to nominate anyone for the vice chair position? Janine?
I was going to nominate Nancy, but I thought, well, okay, so for vice chair, I'll nominate.
Nancy, okay. Nancy, do you accept that nomination?
I would only, because I'm out of the country so much during the year, there are meetings that I won't be able to attend, so you wouldn't be able to count on me. So thank you very much, Janine.
That's okay.
That's very nice, but I think I'll have to decline.
Okay. Councillor Masters?
I'd like to nominate Liz Parkinson.
Liz, do you accept that nomination?
Just so I'm clear, it would only be when Ashley would not be available, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. I accept the nomination. Thank you.
Wonderful. And can I get a seconder on that, please? Hey, Michelle? And all in favor? Great, thank you. So we have a motion to appoint Liz Parkinson as the vice chair of the Accessibility Advisory Committee. Wonderful. So with that said, Ashley, I'm going to hand everything over to you now. And again, if you have any questions,
Alrighty.
please.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll point to you whenever. Yeah.
No problem.
All right.
So next
Perfect.
thing on our list will be the confirmation of agenda.
Alrighty. So do you want me just to read out like that? We have to go over if anyone has any particular interests.
So first, we're going to confirm the agenda, the item.
Oh yeah.
And if anyone has anything that they would like to add, we have to they have to bring a motion, and the majority of members have to agree to have those items added to the agenda.
Okay. Is there anything anyone would like to add at all to the agenda? Not that I'm saying. I do have something to add if possible. I did email Carrie. I'd like to add to the agenda just about the involvement of the accessibility committee to the town hall. Because I know we've already gone over the like drawings of it and stuff like that when it first came out. But one thing I want to add about is us going over whether involvement on how things are going to be laid out, because that really changes the accessibility of a building on how things are laid out. So. Yeah. So then do I just ask if that's like, who put that motion forward?
So does everybody, I guess we'll just take a vote to see if we would like to have that item on the agenda. So if you could just raise your hand if you're in agreement with, okay. Okay, thank you. So we will add the accessibility update. Do you want it like an update or?
Basically just like us talking about the town hall and our involvement going forward.
Okay. So, great. So we could perhaps put that under, just thinking here, new business.
Yeah, that's right. I figured.
Okay. Great. Is there anything else anyone would like to add?
I had something. It's Liz speaking. Under new business, can we add MS month? Awareness month is in May, and I'm not going to be here for the April meeting, so I wondered if I could talk about it at this meeting. We usually have
And
the
then-
mayor make a proclamation that May is MS Awareness Month, and there's usually a flag raising. So I have some dates that I'd like to propose for those things.
Okay. Can we
Okay, so
have,
is
and then-
everyone in favor? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just everyone's in favor of adding that under new business as well? Just a quick show of hands. Okay, great. Thanks. We'll add that under new business.
Does anyone else have anything at all they'd like to add?
Yeah, I do.
Councillor Masters?
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'd like to, with Ashley's mention of the town hall, can I just add a section to that a confirmation of the amenities for wheelchair accessibility. So I don't know what's been planned, or where the needs are, and so I think it'd be a good idea, a good review, wouldn't it, because it is our new flagship for our town, to confirm that it meets accessibility in every way.
I think
so do we
can
just want to
consider
discuss that encompassed in the item that Ashley brought forward? Can
Yes.
we?
I think
Okay.
it could be. Yeah, I think it could be. Yeah.
Okay.
As an addition to what Ashley has already brought forward.
So specifically wheelchair accessibility.
Yeah, I think we need to confirm that it meets, all of our requirements. So
Well, and
I'm sure it's under a code, but seeing believe, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Jean?
so just, well, accessibility for all forms of disabilities, like, really is what the code requires, and the Ontario accessibilities, no, I'm going to get that wrong, AODA legislation requires. So we want to know all the accessible features.
Yes, I should confirm that. I should correct that. That's exactly right.
Okay. So then just to clarify, we have two additional items under new business for today's agenda. We have the town hall involvement for accessibility, and then we have MS month. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. Ashley, you can go ahead and ask for, oh, I'm sorry. Pavlina, you had two items that you sent out. Did you want those added to the agenda, or?
Well, it's up to the committee whether they want to add them or not, since I'm not a
Okay.
member, but I did suggest that you may want to discuss National Accessibility Week and Global Accessibility Day, because just like the MS, there are proclamations that the committee requests, and I think we need to do that in a timely manner, because the next meeting is in April, and it usually takes 2 full cycles, a committee of the whole and council, to get that approved. So I would recommend to start that process now, but it is up to the committee whether you want to add that or not.
Yes, please. I was counting on that.
Yeah, and I would second that move, that we add those to the agenda.
All right, is everyone in favor of that? Perfect, yep.
Okay, so we have a motion that the agenda will be received as amended. Can I get a mover on that, please? Michelle, and a seconder?
Second that.
Alan, thank you. All in favor?
Carrie, I just want to confirm, so we're adding the 2 other items as well?
Yes, so Global
Okay,
Accessibility
just wanted to make
Awareness
sure.
Day and National Accessibility Week. We'll
Okay,
add
perfect. Just wanted to confirm.
Yep.
All right, perfect.
Okay,
Alright,
Ashley,
so-
go ahead.
So do I have to do a motion to confirm the agenda
No,
fully?
we just did that.
Or that's fully done now? All right.
Fully done.
All right, perfect. And then now, anyone have any peculiar interest to disclose at all? Or as items come up, if they have any, feel free to bring it up then or whatever. So, yeah. All right, and then do we go on to just like mentioning that if the public would like to speak at these meetings, there is a process to go through by filling out a request form?
Certainly you can say that. There is a deputation request form. Yep.
All right. And then next item on the agenda is the summary reports from the last meeting of September 7th of 2022. So did everyone get a chance to go over that by chance? Is there any questions regarding that at all?
I have a question.
Yeah, Councillor Masters.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. I just went through this here, and I think there's a recommendation there to take a drive or a visit to specific locations to look at the accessibility, if I'm right. I think this is a good idea, and I think this is what from the minutes of the last meeting, I guess. I think that would be a good idea from my perspective to know where certain areas are in the town that need addressing. Am I right in surmising that?
Once a long time ago, we were going to visit sites, and I can't remember. I think I couldn't go for some reason, but we
did
pre-COVID.
Yeah, I know over the last term, we did have towns members go out to the different parks and things like that to get information. And I know things did get added to the website at one point, but I'm not sure where we stand in that now.
Yeah,
so as far as I know.
Sorry to interrupt. Down under unfinished business, we do have some of the recommendations from the previous accessibility advisory committee, and that item is actually listed there. So I don't know if we want to hold off on discussing that until we get to
sorry, I missed that
of the agenda.
Just to keep your summary in the right order.
Okay, so Ashley will need a motion to receive the summary report. Oh,
okay. I know Liz just has her hands up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm probably out of protocol here, but I see in the minutes of the last meeting, it talks about the increased signage for accessibility washrooms at events. And that's not on the unfinished business list. So I'm wondering if we could, oh, it is. My mistake.
Yeah, number 2.
My mistake.
Okay, so right now we'll just have a motion to receive the summary report. Would someone like to move that motion? Janine, thank you.
Yeah, it should be someone who was at the last meeting, maybe.
And is there a seconder for that? Michelle, thank you. And all in favor? Okay, great.
All right, and then next would be deputation presentations, but we don't have any tonight. And then the correspondence and information items, there's nothing on our agenda for that. So I guess we'll move into the unfinished business, which is for number 1 is recommendations from the previous accessibility advisory committee is this is where we get into all the parks and recreation. So does anyone want to take the floor on that at all? Councillor Masters.
Keep fronting in. Just a suggestion. This is something that was brought up in council for other reasons, but wouldn't this be something that would be good to do collectively as a group? And maybe pick a specific time and a place that's convenient to everyone, and maybe do a collective drive to some of the areas that are listed here to review it.
I do know that we all can't get together and do it because then it'd have to be an official meeting because we'd have the quorum to be able to do it. So,
Okay.
but I know
So we-
before last term, we broke off into like, you could do like a working group where we did like 2 or 3 people get together and do it.
Okay.
So that is
Sure.
always an option.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know where everything, what's going on out there, and to see firsthand, some of the issues that might be out there. And so then I would move that we do that. We pick a time and a place where we split off into groups and look at some of the facilities that are in question ourselves, and bring that information back to the next meeting.
Is that how we did it last time? Just to say, how we did it last time is we didn't go to places, but we had a specific project that we wanted to move forward with the parks, because the town website didn't have complete information on the parks in terms of which ones, because the town parks and recreation have been doing a really good job at adding accessible features to the children's playgrounds. And we wanted to make sure that the public could go on site, look at a playground and see what the accessible features were and what they might contribute to children's development, based on if they had a need for accessibility in any way. For example, several features have been added in playgrounds that address children with who are on the autism spectrum. And so there are things like a sort of cave-like safe place to sit, things like that. And then they had sort of musical chimes that children could play and listen to, and access for children in wheelchairs to various playground equipment. So all of these things were there, but the public didn't know they were there. And so we recommended that this be accomplished on the website. And I believe that's all in place now. Parks and Rec and the technical people put that all together. So that was a really successful project. And
sorry, Jenny, whereabouts was that? Whereabouts was that project done? What facility?
Well, it's now, as I understand it, and I should have gone back and checked, but as I understand it now, if you search on the town website for playgrounds and you search for accessible, you will get information on which playgrounds have accessible equipment and what kind of equipment they now have.
Okay, so that was directed more to playgrounds, right?
That was specifically directed to playgrounds because we had feedback from the public.
Right.
If we could let Pavlina step in on this one, because I know she was a big person on that. She can definitely, I feel like, expand a lot more.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. I think we're talking about 2 different things. So yes, so last year what we did was we gathered a lot of information on various playgrounds as to what equipment they had, what accessibility features they had, and we took a lot of pictures and put it on the website to assist anyone looking for that. So we did that. But what we're talking about under unfinished business, if I can just read it and in full. So consider reviewing adaptive equipment that the town could purchase to encourage participation and recreation for children and adults in the community. By visits, and how to do that is to visit with Parks and Recreation to review accessible fitness, recreation, and equipment available, and to review the equipment loan program through the Children's Treatment Network to trial equipment to assist in purchasing considerations for 2024. So when we looked about, we talked about all sorts of equipment loans that were available at the Children's Treatment Network, and we could visit and take a look and sort of get an idea of what we could acquire for the town. So these are two different things.
That's true. That was
So-
a separate, yeah, that was a separate project we were doing at sort of at the same time. Yeah. Sorry.
So, yeah, so the last committee, at the last committee, it was suggested to hand this over to the new committee and to start this. So to, meet up with Parks and Recreation departments, talk about what are all the different accessible fitness recreation equipment available, what we could perhaps add that they don't have, and to take a look at what the Children's Treatment Network offers, and is there something that we could trial, and if we like it, we could purchase it. So that's where that item was. So I just wanted to make sure that we were in the right direction there.
Yeah, so I just had that stuff that, because I know I brought that like first part of it up, and then I end up meeting with someone at the Tottenham Community Fitness Center, and we went over, so I have a whole list here of all the stuff we had found about the accessibility of the Tottenham fitness area, and just like going around. So I don't know if do you guys want me to email this to Carrie and it could be distributed out, or I can read out some of it now if you guys want. I don't know where we stand on that.
I think that'd be good to email if you wouldn't mind, Ashley, because there's probably quite a few items on there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a decent list, but I can like do a small summary if you guys would like.
Sure, if you like.
All right, so basically the overall summary is after you get in the front door, it's not accessible.
Yeah.
So the front end, like you go right up to the clerk, like the secretary, however you want to say, the front desk there. And when we got there, the lower one that was someone in a chair or say somewhere a shorter statue, it just had pamphlets everywhere. The window was closed, so you couldn't even access that. So just starting from there and then going in, we moved over to like the gym part of the like equipment, and you can't even get into the door there because there's no button, there's no nothing. Like the person at the desk unlocks it, but then after that you have to try and get someone to come out and open the door to try and get through. So, and it goes like that to the change rooms, everything. And if you want to use any of the multi-rooms, it's hard to get into again. And then equipment wise, there's a couple things you can use, but there's definitely a lot that could be added for not even like for physical disabilities, cognitive, everything. So there's definitely a big conversation that we have. So, yeah.
Can I just, Nancy's been waving her hand up there for about 5 minutes or so.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
Sorry, Ashley, I was just a little confused here when, would it be helpful if a few of us, one of us, doesn't matter how many, went to Parks and Recreation and sussed out some equipment and brought it back to a meeting, not physically the equipment, but maybe pictures or information for that? And is Debbie Bushby somebody, Michelle, do you think that could help with the Children's Treatment Network with regards to, because she's a wealth of information for, it's so sad she's not on the committee. It's such a loss because she was such a wealth of information to us on particular issues just like this. So, maybe even we could have her as a guest one night or at a meeting to bring us up to date on what's available and possibly cost. And the other thing is, anything that we decide to purchase, is it going to come out of the accessibility budget, or is it it's just our information and we pass it on to the town and then council decides on whether to purchase it or not? I don't know whether Pavlina, that's your department. You can answer that maybe.
Yes, whatever you would like to purchase, you would do a motion, which would be presented to council, and they would it would be provided for approval. But yes, the town does have a budget for accessibility items. We've been able to purchase a number of things so far.
Like I would certainly be interested in reaching out to someone from Parks and Rec. Maybe they have a brochure or a booklet or something that they could make available to us or me, and then have a look over, and if that's something, if that's the route that needs to be, or whether we go have a meeting en masse with them, whatever is easiest to do.
Janine's got her hand up, Ashley.
Oh,
So-
yeah, go ahead, Janine.
So it seems, sorry, I need to honor you as chair here. Yes, thank you. It seems that we have almost two issues here. One is that people have to be able to get into the recreation facilities, and they can't. So you can't do anything if you can't get in there independently. So that's one issue we should be addressing as a project. And then the other issue is, once they get in, can we provide enhanced equipment that would make it possible for them to fully experience the recreation and the physical aspects of the facility? So does that make sense, that we're actually talking about two things equally important that we need to find resolutions for?
Yeah, I think you put that into good perspective, how it's kind of two things become one item in a way. So. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to bring up on that topic at all?
I just have a quick idea. I don't know if this probably isn't my place, but just to kind of keep the meeting going, perhaps there could be a deputation from somebody from Parks and Rec, and we could maybe speak with them directly at one of our meetings to clarify any issues. I'm not sure if that's something the committee would want to do. It can't come from me, but if that's it's just a suggestion.
I would move that.
It's a good
I would move
start.
that in.
I think it
Yeah,
would be a
'cause,
lot
like-
easier. Sorry, Ashley. I think
No,
it
no,
would be
go
a
ahead.
lot. I think it would be a lot easier to have them come to us as opposed to try and get us all to them. But as I say, you know, if somebody's interested in going and doing that, like I said, that's fine. But it's probably best if they could come to us, and in the same breath, somebody like Debbie Bushby coming in to give us her wealth of information on what's available through the Children's Treatment Network. If we've got somebody that we can pull out of the community to do this, as opposed to flounder around and try and find these on our own, I think we'd be amiss not to take advantage of that.
Mhm. Yeah, like when I did the tour there, the lady didn't even know that the town had our own sledge hockey sleds. So it's like, oh, sorry. It's things like that. Like even people
Yeah.
working for the town don't know, like that are in rec, don't know that we have these at our disposal to use. So I think
Mhm.
there's a big education piece that really needs to be put out there for everyone.
Yeah.
So
We,
yeah, go ahead, Janine.
So this is part of the history of what went on in the last term, because we did organize the purchase of certain pieces of equipment for the swimming pool. And that was great. And people that could use them, it was great. But part of the problem was to sort of get the rec department tied into that process, because it was labor intensive for the people on duty at the pool to then help the person who was using this new equipment, and they maybe weren't fully educated in the use of the equipment, and it was sort of beginner steps with this process. But I think I remember that was when we started to say, what other kind of equipment could we be providing to enhance people's experience at recreation facilities. And I think that's how we got to where we are now. But we do need to coordinate that with the rec department so that they follow through with training and things. Because if the rec department staff don't know things like, yes, there is equipment for sledge hockey, then it's an uphill battle.
Yeah. So such someone put a motion forward to like bring someone from Parks and Recs in to do a presentation and also like a discussion piece on what we do have and don't have and steps moving forward.
I think Councillor Masters moved that, and it seemed
Yeah.
like everyone was in favor of that.
Yeah.
So what I can suggest is if members want to send any correspondence or any items to me, we can certainly send out an invitation to somebody from Parks and Rec and invite them to our next meeting. And then we will have to be prepared as to specifically what we would like to speak to them about. So if you want to start thinking about specifics, and perhaps you can email me and I can compile a list of items that we can put on the agenda, then we can do it that way if that's what you would like.
Well, I'm at this point, I don't know what there is available out there, so I don't know what to suggest. Are you meeting items, playground equipment items, or just things we want to talk to them about?
Well,
Any like the
now I'm
things that
confused.
are cool.
Oh, there you are. You're up there now.
Pavlina, would you want to touch on this at all?
Yes. So what I could do is I could speak to Parks and Rec in the background and let them know that for them to come and talk to you folks about what recreation activities they have and what accessible activities they have and the accessible equipment they have. And then you can go from there. You can ask questions but they can start off with that. And then just keep in mind the questions you want to ask them once they come to the committee. Because I think you have a lot of questions. But what I could say in general, you folks are interested in understanding what are the accessible recreation, fitness activities available. What are the accessible equipment available? What is it that we could add that perhaps isn't added? Could they make suggestions, or you could make suggestions, and then we could go from there.
If they could make us aware of the physical equipment that might be available, and then the people with the best experience could advise which would be most useful and what kind of staff involvement would be needed to make these things work for the customer.
Yeah. Councillor Masters.
Thank you, Ashley, through you, the chair. I guess it's a question to staff. If what do we have now? Somebody mentioned that we have information on our town website as far as accessibility. I haven't looked at it, so I'll be honest about that. But is there any kind of information, pamphlet, booklet that the town puts out that gives an outline of what programs have accessibility attached to them, or any kind of an accessibility brochure that outlines the facilities that are accessible through our town?
So, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, Pavlina, would you?
Okay. Thank you. So there's information for the Parks and Rec, their programs and that, but they don't specifically speak to accessible features unless there's something very different. I know they do try and make it as accessible as possible, but I don't think they're very specific about it. I'd have to go and look and see what is on their website. What we did last summer is we identified accessible features in the playgrounds. But what we're talking about is more fulsome than that. It's the fitness programs, or all the indoor programs and all that type of stuff as well. So they used to have sledge hockey. They don't anymore. I'm not sure why. So those are the types of things that we need to talk about. Why aren't those things available anymore, and what are some of the programs that can be implemented? But I don't think, there is not such thing as a brochure for specific accessibility, because all programs need to be inclusive, and that's a given. It does as much as possible. So I don't think what you're specifically looking for.
I guess I'm trying to put myself in a place of somebody new coming to the town, and who needs accessibility.
So
Find out what and I want to join some of the programs that are available that do have accessibility in the town. What centralized area could I go to that would give me an outline of what's available, and say, wow, yeah, that's something I'd like to do, or yeah, I could do that, or that's just.
So there is a brochure. There is like a booklet of all the programs, but it doesn't say, okay, this. It doesn't. It's not very specific about accessibility in that.
Oh, I see. So it's not identifying which programs are accessible.
Yes, because
was that an issue?
I guess it's a given, because most of the programs, I think it's a given that they are to be inclusive as possible. But for instance, if somebody's in a wheelchair, if they want to attend a yoga class, they could call the instructor and say, could I join yoga class and participate from my chair as much as possible? You could do things like that. There's phone numbers, and you can reach out to determine your specific needs and if you are able to join those types of programs. But there's so many variations that we can't list everything. So the best I can suggest is people can phone the phone numbers if they need more information that is in the booklet.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I'm new to this, so I'm just trying to think broadly. Try and put myself in that place. If I was looking for something, where do I get the information? I think that's part of what we do for accessibility, isn't it? To make sure people have as much information.
That's right. Yes. No, absolutely.
That's it. Just a question.
And what I could invite you folks to do is actually go on our website and take a look at the brochures that they have, the booklets that they have for the summer or the fall, whatever, and actually look at it and talk and see if you think it is useful or if it needs to be enhanced, because absolutely that's your role. And I invite you folks to do that very much.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I was looking at information about if like the Tottenham one with accessibility offers, it's hard to find. I couldn't find anything on, like, even the fact that the town has a sledges, that's not listed anywhere to say like, oh, you could try this out. Like, and I think that's one thing we should bring up is like doing a try me day. Like, the town has these things at their disposal. Let's do a try me day and get the community out there knowing like this is an option. You don't have to be disabled to do it. Like, you can get on the ice with an able-bodied person.
That would be something. It would be great if it could be used during the March break, when there's so many kids off and looking for something to do, and parents looking for something to do with their kids. That if it could be done, advertised, and someone could be there to display and show them, that would be something fun.
Yeah, even if it's just like an hour, get people out there, and then it can grow. There's
lots of sleds. It's a shame that they're just sitting there because they were expensive items.
Mm-hmm.
Just as an aside on that, did anybody go to the Tottenham Free Skate on Saturday? No, you couldn't get in there. The parking lots were absolutely jam packed. They were blocked. You couldn't. They wouldn't let any more people get in there. The cars were parked as far as you could walk. Some people have walked as far as the Tim Hortons to get in there. There were so many young families and kids, and it was unbelievable. I was there, so a bunch of other councillors, and talk about accessibility. That was the place was jam packed. But to your idea there, I think that's a great idea to have some kind of a get together, like something like a family skate or something where people could try these certain things and get an idea and share the wealth with other people. I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, Janine has her hand up. Yeah.
So can we actually state these as formal objectives in our summary so that it goes to council for approval for us to proceed with certain projects? One would be to just increase the information to accessibility, and the other one would be to get your Try-Me Day going. Can we?
Yeah, I think we'd have to do a motion, right? And then everyone vote on that. Oh, Pavlina?
Could I suggest that you perhaps have the Parks and Rec people talk to you, and you can ask your questions. And then once you find out all the information, then you can then maybe say what you would like us to do differently or whatnot. Because right now, we don't know what the reasons are why certain things have been stopped or why certain things have not been introduced. So I think we need to hear Parks and Rec from what has been happening. Once we gather that information, I think it would be a good time to make your formal requests. But right now it's hard to do that when we don't really have the information.
Could we then put them on the summary as unfinished business so we don't sort of drop those two topics, because they're so on point to what we should be doing?
I'm gonna go to Carrie for that one.
So, so the increased information for accessibility options and the Try-Me dates is what you're specifically looking for the next agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, just put it as like unfinished business so that it doesn't get dropped and forgotten about type thing.
Certainly.
But then definitely moving forward with the parks coming in and talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I think as we stated earlier, everyone was in favor of having somebody from Parks and Rec. So staff will be directed to reach out to Parks and Rec to facilitate an appearance at an invitation to our next meeting. Okay.
All right. And then do we move on to the next part of that topic of the Children's Treatment Network? And then I don't know if Michelle wants to talk about that one, because I know you're involved with that a lot more.
I can, for those that don't know about what we're talking about, the Children's Treatment Network is basically an umbrella of different therapies for children and youth in York Simcoe. And they have a loaner equipment program where you can borrow equipment. I want to say it's for 2 weeks. You can borrow equipment. It might be a week to two, depending. It might also depend on the type of equipment that it is. They have adaptive bikes. They have sleds that you can use in the winter. They have like a beach wheelchair, different kinds of lifts, things like that. So, and that equipment goes all the way from like across Simcoe County and York. It's delivered to the area that the person wants to borrow it in. So that is something that we were talking about. We could borrow some of their equipment to try it out to see if it's something that the town would want to purchase.
And
yeah, go ahead, Janine.
Sorry, I talk a lot, I know. Wasn't part of that was that although Children's Network has these things, they're not specifically based in Alliston. So you're sharing, the stuff is being shared across a region. And so if the town had their own stuff, there'd be more certainty of access. Am I remembering all that right?
Well, the stuff that the Children's Treatment Network has currently, like they're willing to lend it to the committee, like to the town to try. but it's not something that's going to be available to the town on
No,
an
but
ongoing basis. Like it's used for their client. So like, for instance, if my son wanted to borrow something, then he would be able to borrow it, but then somebody in Collingwood might want to borrow it, and then someone in Markham might want to borrow it, and that same piece of equipment travels.
Yeah, so that was my point, was that children in New Tecumseh have to wait their turn across quite a wide area, whereas if the town we could look at them, say, wow, this is great stuff. We can afford to purchase 1 or 2 items that would be available for New Tecumseh children specifically.
Pavlina, I seen you had your hand up. Did you want to touch on this at all?
No, thank you. I've changed my mind. There was something else I was thinking of. Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
So something like that, Michelle, is it possible that on a Try Me Day here in New Tecumseh, we could request on a specific day to have that piece of equipment there for individuals that wanted to try it out?
Definitely. And actually the Children's Treatment Network would probably work in collaboration with the town in order to do a Try Me Day. I know in the past we've done the wheelchair basketball, as well as a Volt hockey try me day, which was through Variety Village, but the Children's Treatment Network was involved as well. And the sledges. But yeah, any of the equipment, I'm sure that we could talk to Debbie and she could arrange for whatever equipment that we wanted to come and see what she has available too.
Yeah, well, that would be ideal because it's right there for us. Just a matter to ask for it. It's nice to have it tried out before, we just order something that maybe there isn't a need for.
And I think the more notice that we give them, because for some of the items there probably is a wait list for them. So the more notice that we're able to give, we're probably better off.
Now, would they do it for a 1-day tryout, say, or a short term, or?
I'm sure that they probably would. It's just a matter of also transportation of getting. So this equipment is spread out across both regions. So it's a matter of getting the equipment transported here as well.
We'd have to make arrangements in plenty of time to make sure it's accessible.
Liz?
Yeah, I just wondered whether or not it's the Children's Treatment Network has a list of all the equipment, and then maybe be able to identify what are the hot items, what are the most requested items, and that, what kind of item are there long wait times for, so that we could look at those items first if we're looking at purchasing or borrowing something.
Good idea.
There definitely is a list, and I know that there is a person that is their job is dedicated to this loaner closet or loaner program, basically, and making sure that they're tracking the equipment where it is. So we can definitely get a list of what's available.
Yeah, and if they can provide information on what are the hot ticket items, that would be really useful.
All right. So how do we want to move forward on that? Just like, Michelle, would you mind reaching out to like Debbie or someone there and getting that list?
Sure, no problem.
Perfect. All right. So I guess we'll continue moving that item forward.
How far forward can we do on our own, and then at what point do we need council approval?
Well, I think this right now is just at the point of gathering the information to be able to discuss among us, and then we can go to council after that, if I'm understanding the procedures correct. Okay, perfect. All right, is there any other things want to be brought on to that, or is it okay to move on to the next item? All right, the next one is, pardon?
I was just going to say, I think it's excellent that we've got all these projects to move forward on. So we have a productive year.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. All right, and the next item is committee members to reach out to the ABIA and BTBIA to address increased signage for the accessible washrooms. So I don't know who wants to take that one on. Councillor Masters?
Yeah, I do have a meeting coming up with the ABIA, so maybe I can mention at that meeting. And
Patricia? Oh, sorry.
Excuse my ignorance, but what are those initials standing for?
Oh, I don't know the exact like meanings, but it's basically the business, like the ABA one is the Alliston, and then the other one is the Beaton Tottenham, and they organize events around town. Is like what I understand the short form.
yeah, this is not an official meeting; it's just a personal get together, and but I can mention it at that get together.
Again, the background on that, the background on that is that we seriously discussed the possibility of the town purchasing a mobile washroom for accessibility. And then we came down to, well, let's just make sure that there are accessible washrooms, like if Beaton has a honey festival, the library is accessible, that kind of thing. But maybe the problem is signage, so that any of these events, we want signage. And maybe I've gone astray, because it may also be that do businesses supply accessible signage for washrooms and things.
If I can jump in there, the town does have a signage program, a wayfinding signage program, and there are specific areas, regions, buildings, places that they have selected to put signs up. Perhaps we could contact the person. Kerry, who would be that? Who would look after that? Is that Parks and Rec? I think it is, isn't it?
I'm not 100% sure, I'll be honest with you. Pavlina?
Can I mention that the business with the accessible washrooms? So when we talked about this, most of the events are led by other agencies, not the town. The ones that are led by the town do have good signage and so forth, but it was the other agencies that we don't have any control over that we were trying to have them. So that's why the ABIA and BTBIA was mentioned, because they have events that they run, and they are the ones that are responsible for their signage. So,
so this is for portable washroom. This is for portable washroom.
Yes, yes.
Ah.
Well, or not necessarily portable, but accessible, but to have signage as to where where those bathrooms are.
Yeah.
So,
some kind of portable signage, some kind of a portable signage.
Yeah, anything. So exactly. Yeah. So the events that are run by the ABIA and BTBIA, we wanted some of the committee members to talk to those agencies to talk about the signage, because the town does not control those events. So we're not the ones that need to look after the signage. We look after our own. And actually, there's very few town-run events, and we do have the correct signage and facilities.
Okay, so yeah, well, I can talk to a member of the ABIA and just bring it up in passing and see what they have to say.
Okay.
Somebody wants to take on the Beaton Tottenham ABIA, BIA, that would be good too.
Yeah. So do we have to request permission from council to be able to reach out and talk to them, or are we okay to go ahead? Pavlina?
We actually already did request this on
I thought so.
the May 18th meeting, so quite a long time ago. So it just hasn't happened. Yes.
Okay. Do we want to put like a working group together that a couple people reach out and go from there?
I live in Tottenham, so I can accompany somebody. I don't drive, obviously don't drive. So I don't know where they're holding their meetings now, that the BIA or BTBIA.
That's Robin, right, as the president. She's out of Tottenham. She is out of Tottenham.
But are they holding in-person meetings?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean,
yeah.
sure, why not? That's part of what they do, right?
So Ashley, are you able to? And
I can call them type thing. I don't think the Tottenham one is accessible. I'm pretty sure there's stairs to get into it. So that cuts me out, unfortunately. So unless they've got a portable ramp, which would be great, but I highly doubt it, unfortunately. But I can call and reach out to them if that works for everyone. Oh, Nancy, I think you're talking, but you're muted. Nancy, you're muted.
You're muted. You're muted, Nancy. Sorry, yeah, you can read lips. That's another form of accessibility, right?
Sorry, I'm confused about what is it that we need to speak to the BTBIA about? Signage for what?
Like where the locations of the accessible washrooms during events will be, so that someone that needs it will know where to go instead of having to try and search out for it. I think it's what we're looking at.
And is that our responsibility to provide those signs?
To recommend, well, did we talk about getting signs that they could borrow? Did we talk about that?
Pavlina?
No, because it's not our responsibility for those events, right? So the BTIA and that they run their own events, so they need to make those arrangements. And perhaps they have portable sign, perhaps they need more. Perhaps, but I think it's important that one of the committee members advises them and talks to them and brings about the awareness that we think that, more signage is needed because it's not enough. So I think just to start that conversation, because perhaps nobody has said anything to them. But no, it's not the town's responsibility. They do their own events.
Okay, so it's the responsibility of the accessibility committee to make it known to them that they need to provide proper signage for just accessibility washrooms or all washrooms?
So they probably provide washrooms and then forget to mention which ones are accessible. I'm thinking, I have to confess that I haven't been to Tottenham Community Week or the Honey Festival. Well, none of us have, but so I can't speak from experience. So if somebody, it's more effective. Yeah.
So Nancy, just to answer your question, it's not the committee's responsibility to tell them, but but you folks wanted to do that. You elected to do that as something to do for the community as a committee to enhance that signage and all that. So no, it's not your responsibility, but you folks decided that last year to do that. Okay. So just to bring about the awareness that, the committee feels that this is the right thing to do to increase signage and so forth, to allow people with disabilities to attend events more, because a lot of them may not attend events because there are no facilities or they don't know where the facilities are. So that was the whole premise of that discussion.
Yeah, and to advertise in their advertising that accessible washrooms are provided. Okay, now that I understand, what if anyone can give me a contact from someone from the BTBIA, I'd be happy to reach out to them. I don't know who's involved with it or how to reach them.
Perhaps maybe look it up or Google it, perhaps as a start, because I don't have that either. But either you could Google it or maybe Carrie could look it up and send you the information.
There is a Facebook page.
Sorry, I'm not on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. That's okay.
I'll reach out to our economic development officer, and she could perhaps send along some contact information.
Economic development.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah,
Nancy,
Yeah.
I found an email address.
I'll do
so
that.
Why don't I send you the email address?
okay,
Okay.
great, super. I'll get in contact with them and pass that information along.
Perfect. All right. I think, is there any other discussions on that topic that anyone wants to bring forward? No? Okay, so we can move on to the new business. All right. So for the new business, what topic do we want to approach first?
Actually, I think you were the first one to send in something for new business.
Yeah.
Was your item.
All right, so it's okay to talk on that one then. All right, so I had just after discussions, conversations on the weekend and stuff, is just got talking with different people and asking about how the accessibility of the new town was going to be. We did go over the plans. We got to talk with the building department and go over it all, and it's looking great so far. But a big thing with accessibility is how things are laid out, like how high are, like, say, light switches in a bathroom, different things like that. Like, is the soap going to be attached to the wall? Because if it's all the way at the back, not everyone's going to be able to reach it. How high are, like, hand dryers, things like that. So I feel like maybe the committee could reach out to the council and see if we can be involved in, like, the design aspect of just going around, like, even like the heights of a welcome desk. Like, are they going to be where someone, say, of shorter stature can reach it, things like that. So, Pavlina?
So the Director of Parks and Recreation brought the site plan and the floor plans and had a larger conversation with the group back in March of 2021. Perhaps you could identify exactly what other information you're looking for, because by the end of that meeting, it looked like all the questions were addressed. So what I could do is, if you have additional questions, we could see if the architect or somebody from that office can answer your questions. So perhaps if you, for the next meeting, if you could collect all the questions, and I can see if I can arrange that meeting. Because from our perspective, all those questions were answered. So if there was anything else in specific, we really need to know those specifics.
Okay, yeah.
If you could do that.
Yeah, because, like, one example I have is, like, going, say, into the building department now is there's a button to get in. It's great. Then you go into the next door, but then there's chairs for people to sit down waiting, and then there's the desk. So if I'm to go into there, I have to drive forward, and then there's nowhere to go. I can't turn and face the person I need to talk to. You have to sit sideways and then turn, and then you have to reverse out to get out of the building. And it's just because of how a desk and a chair was laid out. So those are
Right.
things like the layout of, like, furniture, like things like that.
Right.
So
We did this with the Gibson Center a few years back when they were finishing that up. Michelle, do you remember that? Were you on the committee then when we went to the Gibson Center, and we went into the washrooms, and there was several little things that we deemed needed to be fixed, and those were exactly the things, Ashley, that you're talking about, is the ability to reach the soap, the paper towels. Now you've got hand sanitizer dispensers and all this sort of stuff, and it it's all in the detail.
Nancy,
You
how
know,
long ago was that?
when the Gibson Center was, gosh, so how many years has
Years
that been?
years ago.
So you might know I'm on the board of directors.
You
of
were
the-
born then, Alan. I do remember that. I know
Yeah.
you were already here, born. So,
So I'm on the board of directors for the Gibson Center, and then I'll make a point of checking that out.
well, it all was rectified and
Oh,
whatnot,
was okay.
But
Thank
but
God.
what I mean is everything was finished and then well, semi-finished, and then it was, as I say, just the small details that if you weren't aware of it by ever being in a position like that, or because we were on the committee, most people would say it was wonderful, and it was wonderful. It just needed some tweaking. And I think that's what exactly what Ashley's saying, that there's so many little things that that we could help them with, and it's a lot easier to do it now than to wait till it's all been finished and then they pull it out and have to start again.
Yeah, Pavlina?
So I do want to stress that all the town hall falls under a significant renovation. So that means it's treated like a new build, which means all the codes for accessibility, everything must be in place for AODA, building code, and so forth. So, you know, there's very little likelihood that something was missed, but we definitely would like, you know, we welcome your input. And I just want to say the Gibson Center was a renovation of an old building, but it wasn't a significant renovation to the fact that there was a lot of building code items that weren't in place yet. And so it was a whole different situation. But since I believe it was 2012, significant accessibility items were added in the building code, but it didn't come out till like 2016. So now there is a lot of guidelines that have to be complied with. So maybe wasn't complied with back then. But I can honestly say that, you know, now with the town, we have to comply with everything. But I will stress, I will reach out to the architect to explain exactly what you're looking for and invite him or somebody from his office to the next meeting. So if you could make a motion to do that, then I can make the arrangements for that.
Okay. Would someone like to put that motion forward? Or because I don't know, am I allowed to do that? So
I'll move that where we bring somebody in from down to speak with us about the administration building, accessibility.
Then do we have a seconder? Okay, perfect. And then is everyone in favor of that? All right, perfect. All right, I think that's that topic. All right, now on to the Global Accessibility and Accessibility Week.
I also have Liz's item.
Oh yes, the MS.
Right?
Do you want to do the MS one first, because that was brought up first?
Okay, sure. So as I said, I'm not going to be at the next meeting, but May is MS Awareness Month. And there is an MS flag that the town has and puts up every year. And as I mentioned earlier as well, there's quite a few people in New Tech that are part of the MS support group. And they really feel strongly about attending the flag ceremony at the town with the mayor and having the flag put up, and you know, the proclamation of MS Awareness Day, which is May 30th. So last year we raised the flag on May 24th. So I don't know if that's an appropriate day. I think MS Awareness Day, the official day is May 30th. And I think last year we had the flag up from May 24th to May 31st. So if we could do that again, I think that would be awesome. So.
Okay, so do we want to put a motion forward that we bring to council that they make a proclamation and do that again?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right, do we have a seconder on that motion then? Michelle? All right, is everyone in favor of that? All right, perfect. So I think that's.
Ashley, can I just clarify for the record the motion, just so we have it? That staff be directed to arrange a flag raising ceremony at the Town Administration Center commencing on May 24th, 2023 and continuing until May 31st, 2023 for multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis day is May 30th, 2022. or 2023?
This year?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And do we want to ask council to proclaim May 2023 as Multiple Sclerosis Month?
Yes, please.
And further that council proclaim the month of May 2023 Multiple Sclerosis Month.
Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month.
Awareness Month?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So now we can go on to the global accessibility and national accessibility. That one. I guess those two topics into one in a way because same concept. Janine, yeah.
Okay, so again, ask the council to proclaim those two events, the day and the week. But also what we've done sometimes in the past, if we get organized soon enough, we've had a special project. So one time we marked parking places. I can't remember how exactly it was something about if you're in my parking, something like if you're in the accessible parking place, I can't be in that accessible parking place, something like that. We put wheelchairs in accessible parking places, and we had signage to that effect. And then last year, I think it was that we visited the newly at that time finished playground in Alliston next to the museum, which has a lot of accessible features, and that was sort of part of our Accessibility Week project. And so and these were great, and everything our committee does is great, but I am reminded often that I have a disability that is not mobility, and maybe there's not as many of me around. I know one other person who uses a white cane, but maybe sometimes we can concentrate on a different disability to bring forward for people's education. That's my long way of saying I was hoping that we could talk about vision loss as a disability to commemorate the day and the week this time. And when I have an idea, I just have a full-blown idea. I have all the details, but whether people agree with them or not. So what I thought was, after a couple of occasions where I was depending on my white cane to tell people that I'm, might need special assistance, and it wasn't happening. And one time I was crossing the street by myself, and I usually hold my white cane out, just sort of perpendicular, horizontal to the road. And I had my white cane out, and somebody, I had to step back, because if I hadn't stepped back, they would have hit me, which was sort of scary. And it had a negative impact on my feeling of independence, because I know where I am in Tottenham, I can get around, but I actually depend on drivers to be aware that I am there and not do a very, very fast left turn into where I am standing. So I thought, do people not know? Do younger people not get educated on white canes and what they actually mean? I was in the bank holding my white cane, and then the guy thrust a form in front of me and said, sign it, and didn't even mark, didn't even hold his finger. I can sign a form if somebody shows me where the line is, but, and it's that kind of lack of awareness that it just makes me less independent and puts me at risk at times. And so I thought maybe kids aren't getting taught this in school or brownies or wherever it was that I learned it from an early age. So my idea was some signage, get some help from CNIB to show the different kinds of white canes, because there's a variety of white canes. I have 2 different ones. And the sign I had was pictures of various white canes. And then the thing would be, you don't get these in a cereal box, meaning you have to be registered as legally blind to get a white cane. You know, you can't just pick it up in a store or whatever, or a prize in a cereal box. So some way of making this a bit of a project so people are more aware, because I don't know what they were thinking I was doing with my cane, but they obviously didn't know. They just didn't know. So that's what I would like to propose for this year's day and week and things. Is education on another point.
Okay. I see, Mr. Councillor Masters, I see that your hand's up.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Again, you know, I don't know what's been done in the past. It seems to me if we're having an accessibility week, do we have some form of announcement to the general public this is happening, and if so, what form does that take? You know, I think that's the real important thing, is how do we get the week out to the rest of our town, you know?
And that's
Yes,
really
so
been what we did.
yeah, so on that we'd have to bring it to council and get approval and all that first, but I think Pavlina could expand more on that for sure, if you don't mind. You're just muted, Pavlina.
Sorry. Yes, we request a proclamation to declare the National Accessibility Week to be May 28th to June 3rd, and Global Accessibility Day is May 18th. And then we have the flag raising as well for that. So we need to put that forward. And you know, it's on Facebook. It's advertised in that way. Facebook and the newspaper is usually the way we advertise.
Okay, great, Pavlina. So do we sort of give an indication of that's an all-encompassing you know, accessibility, where it doesn't just include, you know, people that are ambulatory or non-ambulatory, but also people that have sight issues, or there's other forms of you know, accessibility requirement, isn't there? You know, deaf, mute, and things like this. Is it all, when we put that out there, is it all encompassing, or is it just a statement, accessibility week?
It is all encompassing, but what we have done is picked a problem. Like there has been a problem with people just parking in accessible parking places when they aren't, you know, they don't have the sticker, they don't qualify in any way to park there. And so we wanted to highlight that particular problem that year. And then with the work we had done on the playgrounds and getting them better PR on accessibility features in the playground, that was sort of, we picked an aspect of accessibility and highlighted that.
I see.
Yeah.
We could talk to bylaw and have fines for parking in those spots quadrupled.
Well, if it's marked, and if the sign, like you can have a sign for accessibility parking, if it also includes the amount of the fine, then that person, yes, can absolutely be fined. If it's in a shopping center parking lot that the town doesn't own, that's a different, they usually don't have a fine, and then you can't impose the fine. But on public, on municipally owned, like roadways and things like that, then that fine certainly can be bylaw control officer, which we used to.
So I'm just sorry, I'm just digressing when I'm saying that, but basically there will be a a notice put out, and we'll have a chance to look at that notice, Pavlina, before it goes out? Will we have a chance for some input on that, or?
Sorry, what notice are we talking about? The proclamation?
Yeah. Do we have
So-
a?
Yeah, so the proclamation is just a very general statement
Mm.
that, such that this date to this date is National Accessibility Week, whatever. But any other information in addition to that, we can certainly put out throughout the week. You could have a different topic every day or something, but
Yeah.
something put together.
Yeah,
that
that's what I was gonna bring up.
and
Is that
and then ask that get permission from council to do that, but also somebody needs to put away that information together and post it each day and so forth. So so you folks just decide what you'd like to do, and we can see how we can arrange that.
Okay, that sounds
okay?
like
So yeah, so do we want to put a motion forward that we ask the town to put the dates as those are the days type thing, and then also a second motion doing that throughout the accessibility week, each day we like do a different topic just to educate people. Is that something people would be interested in?
I mean, highlight a different disability each day or something like that. Highlight.
Yeah, like you
something
do
different.
physical, auditorial, visual,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
cognitive, just do like a spectrum stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pavlina?
So if I can ask that you indicate who's going to be responsible for providing the information for each day, and by when, so that everybody is aware who is doing what and by when, so that it's ready to be put on to be advertised that week and that day.
Or to make it easier, concentrate on one particular one for the week, as we have done in the past with mobility issues. And then next year, we've got 4 years. And next year we can concentrate on another disability. Because if you just do one day on each one, you're diluting the message.
But
Yeah.
maybe to the other opposite is true, though. We might miss the message after waiting another year, right? At least if you do it combined, the message is out there and it's still sitting on somebody's table, chair, desk, or wherever it is, and for review, right?
But we do have 4 years to accomplish this. So
Yeah.
we could have 4 different messages, one per year.
Is that a long time to wait, though, when you want to get a message
Well,
out there?
We don't have to just message people on that week. That's not our only week of the year in which we are allowed to speak. So we could actually have 4 different messages through the year and not even necessarily tie it that much to the week. That's like, we have the whole year, and then we have 4 full years. So we could start looking at just an education program and work out how we're going to follow through for the 4-year term on educating people on different disabilities and what it means to the people who are affected to have recognition and awareness.
But how are we getting that message out? How is that done?
Well, this is day 1 of the project, so that's something we would be working out. Like that, the town has Facebook, Twitter, whatever. That's part of it. The newspaper, we could get the radio station and the newspapers to interview and talk about it. We've got a full range of social media to talk to people about this. We could do posters.
Pavlina, would this anything that would cost money, like radio time or newspaper ads, is that something that comes out of the accessibility committee budget, or?
Well, it could be radio.
It can,
for that.
yes, it can, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could also be its content for the radio station. It's
Yeah.
content for the newspaper. It's content for
Well,
any
that's
social
true. Yeah,
media.
if it's an editorial as opposed to an advertisement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
They're
true.
always looking for content.
Yeah.
You can always look for sponsors too.
I think we have to be careful though, Janine, I'm wholeheartedly, I agree. I think, sight has been overlooked because I think when people think of disabilities, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is mobility issues, where I'm in full agreement with you that I feel that the issue of blindness has taken a back seat on this committee since I've been on it anyway. I agree. And I think it's something that deserves more attention than, well, all the other disabilities. And
Yeah.
um,
Well, and
but-
it's also a case that what I run up against a lot is, and my friend who is totally blind, says I'm not allowed to say I'm blind because from her point of view, if you can see anything, you're better off than she is. And that's true. But CNIB says blind, partially sighted. So when you're partially sighted, which is a condition that many people are now aging into, with macular degeneration and glaucoma and all these sorts of things. When you're partially sighted, the Braille doesn't cut it. Like I do not read Braille. I don't need to read Braille. I just need to have really, really good signage and good overhead lighting. And if people would just do that for me and acknowledge my white cane means I may need extra help, I can be pretty well independent. But people don't get that just because I can get myself across a room doesn't mean I'm going to read the thing that they put in front of my face. And this is the kind of awareness I think that we need more of. People know what it is to be blind and not be able to see. They don't know what it is to be partially sighted. And so I may not look like I have a disability. It's one of those almost invisible disabilities like mental health and many others, but I have a disability and it does limit my independence sometimes. So it's that kind of education thing that I think as a committee, and I've always thought as a committee, we have a role to play in making the public more aware of what the provincial legislation is and what can happen better in the town. And we could start that today, and we have 4 years to explore many topics with the public.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask Pavlina on that, on the information side of it, to be able to provide information. Would that be a town's person doing it, or was that us gathering the information and bringing it forward? How would
I would recommend that you folks provide the information to us, and we can get our communications person to review it and put it in a format that is suitable for social media or suitable for the newspaper, or help you get the message to the radio station. They can be that in-between person. So
Okay.
That's what I would recommend.
Okay, so do we, as a committee, want to put a working group together and have, say, 3 people working on that information and coming up with the ideas, and then they can be emailed out to everyone and we can go from there?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, who would like to be on that then?
I would.
All right.
I would.
So I'm seeing Nancy, Janine, and Councillor Masters. And then, does anyone else want to be a part of it? How many are we allowed to have in a working group to not make it?
Until we need an
Yeah.
approval council.
Less than quorum. So we have, how many people do we have?
3.
How many voting members do we have?
That's what I'm just checking. 1, 2, 6. There's 8 voting members.
So is our quorum 4 or 5? Or is it
It's-
50 or than
It's
50?
50 plus 1. So you're fine with 3.
Okay, perfect.
And we
So,
could have 4.
because I'll join it if there's room, but if not, then it's.
Oh. So,
No, I
so
think you should, come on it, Ashley. Yeah, I definitely think you should.
Okay, then I'll join it too, and then if it's
Good.
not over the thing, then
Good.
all right. So for this topic, well, let's start off with the motions that we're going to put forward, and then we can go from there. I think would be the best way to move forward on this topic. So, all right. So the motions would be about making the dates, and then everyone was in favor of that. So do we have to redo any of that, or is that all okay? Just so I know where we sit.
Do you want me to read out the motion, Ashley?
Yeah, because is it
Clarity?
all? Yeah, just so.
So what I have is that the mayor proclaim National Accessibility Week be May 28th to June 3rd, 2023, and that Global Accessibility Day be May 18th, 2023.
Be proclaimed on May 18th. Or for May 18th.
Yeah, for May 18th. Thank you. Is that okay?
I think it's good if everyone else is okay with it.
Yep.
All right, so that's all good then. We're good to move forward from that. And then we have the working group discuss. So do we want to set up like an email and the 4 of us can figure out either a Zoom call or something like that to meet up and start working on the education side?
We can either do it by, we can do it by Zoom. Sorry, Pavlina, go ahead.
No, sorry, I just meant if we could make a motion to that the committee will provide education awareness to
Okay.
post on social media for during the week, the Accessibility Week.
Yeah,
Make that
okay.
motion.
All right, who wants to put that motion to the floor?
Okay,
Janine. And then do we have a seconder for that motion? Michelle? And then is everyone in favor of that motion? Just show of hands and all right, everyone's in favor.
I was going to say, if you want to, so it's what Janine, Ashley, Alan, and myself on that group working. We can Zoom it, or we can come here. I'm fully accessible here, Ashley. I have elevators, so if you wanted to come here and get together one afternoon or evening or whatever,
Okay.
you can let me know, and we can at least sit comfortably and have a discussion.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
If somebody wants to make arrangements for a date and a time, I'm pretty much open anytime, and then let me know, and then we can take it from there.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I can email all of us the like couple dates and see if a time works, and
Okay.
then we can go
Yeah.
from there.
Good idea.
Okay, perfect. All right, Carrie, is there anything else we need to do with that last motion?
No, I don't think so, because you're just going to arrange a time amongst yourselves and
Yep.
perhaps maybe bring back to the next meeting as an update.
Yeah, and then it was just the other than that, it was just us the motion that went forward about us providing the information. So I think we're all good then.
Sorry, just 1 second.
Janine, do you are you able to, if we decide to have a meeting in-house, are you okay for a ride? Because I could pick you up for.
Well, I have my lovely chauffeur.
Yeah.
So provided he's not otherwise occupied.
Okay.
Yeah. So that appreciate the offer though.
Yeah. Well, you can.
But I
Tell Ashley if it doesn't work for you, then pick another day.
Yeah.
Where do you live? Do you live out on the farm or?
Yeah, on the 15th Side Road.
Yeah, okay, we know where you live. You know where
Okay.
we live too, so.
Yeah, I've got my hand up.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Pam.
Hi, sorry, just to clarify on that last motion, so is it the desire of the committee that the communication department, that staff be directed to promote the awareness of National Accessibility Week through our social media outlets, and further that committee members are to provide promotional materials for the promotion of National Accessibility Week for consideration by the communication department? Is that
Yep.
what we're looking for?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
so
would
we'll
bring
grab a
some,
mover and a seconder for that, Ashley, and then you can call for the vote.
All right, so
That's what we-
Councillor Masters as putting the motion forward and Liz as seconding. All
okay.
right, and then everyone raise your hand if you're in favor. Perfect. All right, that is everyone's in favor of that motion.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, so now do we just move on to putting a list together of the items for the next agenda?
Yes.
All right. So moving forward, it would be us bringing back the information for the accessibility week, right? Would that be part of that then?
Yeah. Do we
All right.
meet as a subcommittee, then bring what we are suggesting to the accessibility committee for approval, and then it would go to the town for approval?
That's right.
So we actually don't have a lot of time to fool around with. If we're aiming for May, this is February.
Yeah. So we'll have to get together in the next few weeks and go
But
from
it
there.
has to be approved at the next committee meeting because it has to go to
Yeah.
council and be
Yeah.
approved before the end of May. So by your
Yeah.
next, for the meeting in April, if you could.
Gotta have all of it
your
together.
items and then vote on what you want to move forward with.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And then are we moving forward for the next one would be the same unfinished business just moving forward?
Yes, so unfinished business. So if we just go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Let me just look at my notes here. Okay. So, and for next agenda, we had, okay, so we've got. Was there, an update with, discussion with the ABIA and the BTBIA for signage?
Yeah.
The Try-Me Day and the planning or the Parks and Rec Department visit,
Right.
or presentation, whatever.
Oh, and then Michelle, you were going to update us with
The Children's Network.
Children's Network.
Yeah.
And were we doing something about checking that all the rec buildings are accessible? The way that Ashley did with Tottenham?
Is that something that was going to be discussed with our invitation to Parks and Rec?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were going to discuss it with them first, and then we were going to go from there.
Yeah. But there was another thing, have we already said that? But when with the Try-Me Day, was there another thing, or is that we've already said that? There was two
Already
things.
said it with the Parks and Recs coming in and talking, going from there. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's all I have on my list, unless there's anything else.
Oh, and then Pavlina was going to talk to the building department about talking about the town hall stuff.
Yes.
Oh,
Would that be the planning department? I think it was
No,
the
it's the architect of
Okay.
the whole project.
So does that cost the town money if he or
No,
she's fine with us?
Mm.
Okay.
no.
I think that's everything. So we have 5 items for the next agenda.
Perfect.
All right, perfect.
Congratulations, Ashley, on a very successful first meeting.
Thank you. Yeah, that was stressful, but
And
I'm
now,
learning.
Ashley, if you just
Well
want
done,
to,
Ashley.
Good job. I guess we should adjourn it before we carry on, right?
yes, please.
Yeah, so I was gonna. Okay, so I guess that's adjourning the meeting at 8:36.
I move
And then
that
do I have to
we
put a motion?
I move that we adjourn the meeting at 8:36.
Perfect. Can I get a seconder? Michelle, and then all in favor? Perfect. That is adjourned.